One of our biggest stories today, at least 3 people have been confirmed dead after a 5-story building collapsed in Huruma, Nairobi last night. 3 others are being treated in the hospital. Rescue efforts started off last night a little bit slowly since the location of the collapsed building was not accessible. Rescuers had to demolish other structures to gain access to the site. Our reporter Caroline B has been at the ground since early morning today and now joins me with more details. Caroline, it's so good to see you. What fresh updates do you have for us at this hour?
Well, Zinzi, what I can tell you right now is that the operations are almost over, but the bulldozer that was helping in pulling the rubble has already gone. So that means maybe they still do not suspect that maybe there are some people who are still trapped in here, but they're saying that in around an hour or 2 hours' time, everything will be complete. They will have removed all this debris from here. But still what we have is that 3 people have been confirmed dead. 3 others are receiving treatment in hospital. That's all that we have now. The incident which happened at around 1 a.m. Saturday night, and when rescue operations started, it started with the residents of this area who actually helped out in pulling 2 people. And I was speaking to some of the witnesses, and what they said is that this building had actually been earmarked for demolition, but nothing was done about it. So far, some of the tenants had vacated the place, apart from a few, a number which, according to the official figures from the authorities on the ground, is that there was a total of 8 families in this. There was a total of 7 families who remained in the building in itself, but there were... So that means maybe 1 family had vacated this place. It actually brings a lot of concern on substandard buildings. This building, it's actually substandard. And looking at the buildings around it, actually they are not fit for occupation. But nothing is done when it comes to demolishing these houses. As you can see, we have various NYS officials who are here, quite a multi-agency team of people who are helping out with rescue operations. And from what you can see is that there's a Mabati building that is being pulled down. It is actually one of those that has been suspected that it is not fit, which was built in a hurry. People have already vacated the place. Some of the tenants from there were removing some of their belongings from that place so that they can move to safer grounds. And those who are rescued, around 27 of them, have been moved to a social hall around this place. And I've been able to speak to some of them who say they have nowhere to go, and some of them are not sure. There's even a family, there are even 2 children I've been able to speak to. They're not sure where their parents are and whether they're going to get help today. But thankfully, or due to well-wishers who've managed to actually help them, they've been able to take breakfast, and therefore they are in a good place. But from the scene of the rubble in itself is that everything is everywhere. We have beddings which have actually been saved from the rubble in itself. That is a chair. One from the one which is right now being demolished. It's a Mabati building, and just looking at how it looks like is that it was actually not fit for anyone to live inside there, and that's why they're demolishing it, removing the Mabatis one by one. But this incident actually, according to the county officials, is that they are saying they're going to continue with the operation of demolishing houses which are not fit for occupation. It's not the first time we are getting all this. We've got this over and over again. Once a building falls is when we hear the county government coming in and saying, you know what, we're going to bring down those structures which are substandard. And it is the same thing that we've actually heard from one of the county officials in charge of lands, that is Charles Kerich, who says that beginning next week, they're going to meet as a committee to ensure that those buildings which are substandard are going to be brought down. That's a knee-jerk reaction as we've always had. They say it simply because buildings fall, and that's the same thing that he has actually said. But what they say is that around 4 buildings had actually been pulled down a while back. If you can remember, there was a building in Dry which had fallen down. And that building necessitated the demolition of other buildings which were in Mathare. There was some in Kariobangi. There was one in Mathare where the operation of demolishing those houses actually started. So they are going to continue with that operation from next week to demolish those houses which are substandard. And also looking at some of the buildings here, the challenge is that some of them have been earmarked for demolition, but the owners or the landlords actually decide to paint them, hiding the X mark that had been put on these buildings, presenting a very big challenge on the tenants who stay there, thinking that it is actually safe for them to continue staying there. But for this building, which actually fell today, is that it is located in between two schools, a primary school and a secondary school. So we are not sure whether education is going to go on tomorrow. But as per Pius Masai, who's in charge of the National Disaster Management Authority, is that what they are ensuring first is that safety has to come first before the children can actually continue with their education. And when the collapse happened at around 1 a.m., there were students who were still in the secondary school. The dormitory is in that secondary school, but luckily enough, they escaped. They were safe. Right now, they've been taken to much safer areas. And for those, the victims who are lucky enough to escape from the collapsed building, they have been taken to a social hall where they will be receiving, they will be treated and also maybe given amenities that will enable them stay out through the night. Zinzi?
Thank you so much, Caroline. Our reporter Caroline B there with an update of what's been happening at Huruma since the building collapsed yesterday night. And she has said hopefully proper bodies from both land and housing will finally do something about it. This is not the first time we're seeing an incident like this in Huruma. Back in 2015, it killed about 20 Kenyans. We want to take a quick commercial break, but before we do so,